Hello friends, in this video we are going to discuss about the mechanism of attack, that is chemical attack in the concrete. So when we are discussing about the chemical attack, it will be these all are affecting the durability of the concrete. Durability means lifespan of the concrete, because due to these chemical reactions which are happening on the concrete surface throughout the lifespan of the concrete, so what they are doing, they are reducing the lifespan of the concrete. So in that case, if lifespan of the concrete is reduces by the different various methods, so in that we are seeing here chemical reactions which are going to take place on the concrete. As we normally, if we am saying about the concrete structures, it will be mainly of the RCC structures we are constructing. So in that RCC structures we are having, it will be combination of the concrete and the reinforcement steel. So combining concrete and the reinforcement steel, we are making the RCC structure, that is reinforced concrete structure. So in that case, so due to the different chemicals which are present on the environment, which are affecting the concrete, which are acting on the concrete surface, and due to this lifespan of the concrete will be reduces. In that, first will be chloride attack. So chloride attack is one of the most important aspects while dealing with the durability of the concrete. The permeability it primarily causes the corrosion of the reinforcement. See, corrosion of the reinforcement means what? Or reinforcement is basically in the form of steel, right? As steel reinforcements which are there, which are readily affected by the corrosion. So if that reinforcement is corroded, in that case what will happen? The concrete will be get weakened. So if the concrete structure is weakened, in that case a lifespan of the concrete structure will be reduces. This is how it will be affecting the durability of the concrete. As the number of studies indicated that maximum failure of the concrete, that is up to 40%, which are happening in the all over the world, it is due to the chloride attack, right? Next we see the concrete and the passive layer. A strong alkaline nature of the concrete, that is CaOH twice, which is having the pH value that is about 13. We know the alkalinity, right? Alkaline and acidic conditions of the concrete. So concrete is normally which is of the alkaline state. So due to this, our pH is more than 7. So normally our concrete pH will be lie under the 13. So which prevent the corrosion of the steel by forming the thin layer, a small thin layer over the iron oxide. So this will be resisting for the corrosion of the concrete. So if the concrete is permeable means if anything penetrating inside the concrete, so such an extent a soluble chlorides which are present which penetrate right up to the reinforcement, till the reinforcement. In that case, along with this, since chloride is penetrating, in that case water can also be penetrated and oxygen can also be entered into the concrete. So due to this chemical reaction between the chloride, water and oxygen, that thin layer which is present, that is a protective layer, which will be destroyed and corrosion of the reinforcement will be takes place. So here next is chloride ion. Chloride ion enters the concrete from the cement, water, aggregate, or sometimes from the admixture. This can also enter by diffusion of the environment if concrete is permeable. So concrete is permeable, in that case also chloride can enter by the from the environment or from the water, right? Or chloride is present in the cement also, and whatever the water we are using for preparing the concrete, then also chloride is present. So From all these aspects, a chloride can enter into the concrete structures. As per the Indian standards, that is Bureau of India, which is said that chloride content should not, maximum chloride content should be 1%, 0.1%. The amount of chloride required for the initiation of the corrosion partly depending upon the main thing, it will be depending upon the pH value of the pore water which is entering at the concrete. At pH value less than 11.5, corrosion may occur without the presence of the chloride, because it is what it is doing, it is reducing the alkaline nature of the concrete. If alkaline nature is reduces concrete, a thin protective layer which is present on over the surface, which is also reduced. So next point is our corrosion of the concrete. So for corrosion occur, there must be element must be present. There must be at least two metals which should be present at different energy levels, and electrolyte or metallic connections. Any of these three are present for the formation of the corrosion. The reinforced concrete, in that we are having the rebar may have a separate area at energy level. Rebars means they were having tying the reinforcement by the using the wires. So these all are the metal wires. So here at different energy levels we are having the different reinforcement and different rebaring materials. So due to this, it can be happen the concrete electrolyte and the metallic connections which are provided as the rebars, chairs, or for the supporting the reinforcement and rebaring steel. So these all are act as the metallic connections. Okay. So from this diagram here indicates the corrosion of steel, how it will be indicating. So iron Fe++ ions and OH- ions, which will be reacting with the water and will be starting the corrosion. So here, when the corrosion will start with at the different levels of the steels which are present in the reinforcement of the concrete. Okay. So due to this, also iron of OH- ions and Fe+ ions, which will be acting with each other with the water, H2O and the O2, that is oxygen, and along with this chlorides, it is Cl- ions. So this is the, if any passive layers is present, due to this it will be reduced and corrosion will be started. So here we are having the different reactions, that is anodic reaction. Here Fe, that is iron which will be, we can represent as Fe++ ion plus 2 E electrodes. So Fe+ ion act with the OH- ion, it will give you the FeOH2, that is ferrous hydroxide. Again, ferrous hydroxide, which will be acting with the water, react with the water and oxygen. So here it will give us the FeOH3, that is ferric hydroxide. So due to this, these are the formation of the anodic reactions. So due to this, rust or the corrosion of the reinforcement will be take place. Next is cathodic reaction, that is here 4E- ion plus 2 water ions plus oxygen, it will be forming the 4OH- ion. So here this is the cathodic reaction. In this, it can be noticed that no corrosion takes place if the corrosive concrete is dry. Here what we are seeing, corrosion will not be take place if concrete is dry and probably below the humidity. So humidity means moisture which is present in the environment. If it is that is less than the 60%, so normally corrosion will not take place because of the not enough water which is present for the promotion of the chemical reactions. Okay. If concrete is fully submerged in the water also, corrosion will not take place because of the deficiency of this oxygen content. So if corrosion takes place, you want to make the concrete or the reinforcement to start corrosion, so humidity should be present in the environment, should be present nearly 70 to 80%, or any water content should be entering into the concrete up to the reinforcement which are present in the concrete structures. So then only the corrosion will be takes place. So here next is corrosion of the steel due to the carbonation. The passive layer can be lost by carbonation due to the reduction of the alkalinity. As we have studied that alkalinity of the concrete, if it is about minimum 13 or more, so they are having the thin layer. If that alkalinity reduces, that passive layer also lost, and the corrosion will be getting started. So here carbon dioxide reacts with the water, so it will form the H2CO3, that is diluted carbonic acid. So this carbonic acid acts with the CaOH twice, calcium hydroxide, and it will give you the CaCO3 plus H2O. Carbonic acid reacts with the COH2 and carbonation of concrete takes place. Carbonation, that is corrosion, takes place. This reduces the alkalinity of the concrete. When alkalinity is reducing, ultimately pH of the concrete will be reduces, and if it is less than 8.3, the passive layer will be destroyed and corrosion will be take place. So whatever the products which are byproducts which are producing by forming this reaction will be occupy the volume. So this volume which is having the much more compared to the almost 6 times the original volume of the steel diameter or the steel size, which is affecting the corrosion. So what it will do, it will increase the thrust inside the concrete surfaces, and we will find the cracks on the surface of the concrete, or splashing or delamination of the concrete will be occurs. See here, if due to this carbonation, what will happen here, a part of the cement part will be removed because of the increasing volume of the byproduct content of the reaction. So due to this, it will be concrete itself, it will be removed, and you will, or sometime you will find the cracks, or it will be splashing of the concrete surfaces removed from the rim bond. Okay. Next point is how to control the corrosion. So in that we are having the different technique. In that, first is metallurgical method. Steel can be made more corrosion resistant by altering its structure for the metallurgical process, such as rapid cooling of the hot bars by series of water jet, or keeping the hot bars in a shorter period of the water bath. That is, if I alter the metallurgical whatever properties of the reinforcing rod, how we can alter? By rapid cooling, because when we are preparing the reinforcement, if steels are made hot liquid, and then it will be given a proper shape, and then it will be cooled. If we make it cool rapidly, that reinforcing rod, so we are altering the metallurgical properties, and it will become the more efficient to corrosion resistance. Next is corrosion inhibition. Corrosion can be prevented by delaying the chemical method by using the certain corrosion inhibition chemicals such as nitrate, phosphates, benzonate, etc. That means when we are preparing the concrete, if we as this nitrate, phosphates or benzonates or any other corrosion preventive chemicals into the cement, so it will be acting as the anti-corrodant, and it will give the proper layer for the reinforcement. Next is galvanizing of reinforcement. Galvanizing of reinforcement is what? It is dipping the steel in the molten zinc. So here what will happen? If zinc surface will react with the calcium hydroxide in the concrete, which is present in the concrete, form a passive layer, that is a protective layer, and it will be helpful for preventing the corrosion of the concrete. Cathodic protection. In this, cathode ions are cathodes are inserted into the reinforcement. Since this is a very expensive procedure, in India it is not popular because of the cost, but generally it will be used in the advanced countries. Next is coating of the reinforcement. As we have seen that green color coat paint coated reinforcement can also be available in the market. So what it is doing, the surface of the reinforcement is coated with the durable barrier to aggressive metals such as chloride. Fusion bonded epoxy coating is one of the effective method for avoiding the corrosion of the reinforcement. Next point is sulfate attack. Here sulfate attack, it is the most important topic, and this is the most important property of the sulfate. So which generally structure will be affected. Here sulfate, which is normally present in the soil content, and as the calcium, sodium, potassium, magnesium, and they occur in the soil or the groundwater. Ammonium sulfate is frequently present in the agriculture land and water used for the fertilizing the fertilized area. So same water it is used for the curing of the concrete or preparing of the concrete. In that case also sulfate will be present, or industrial efflorescence. So all these cases sulfate is present. So here, and also decaying of the organic material in marshy land or shallow lake often lead to form the H2S, which can be transformed into sulfuric acid by the bacterial reactions. Therefore, sulfate attack is common occurrence in the nature, and mostly in the industrial area we can find the sulfate attack. So here, what will happen? We will see here sulfate attack and sulfate reactions, chemical reactions which are acting on the reinforcement. So formation of the sulfo-aluminate, that is by reacting the sulfate salt with the C3A, tricalcium aluminate, which is present in the cement. So which will be acting with the tricalcium silicate and sulfo-aluminate with the hydroxide. It will give the byproduct of C3ACS3 H32. So this will increase in, this is the byproduct which is in the more amount of volume compared to the earlier volume of the reinforcement. So it will again expansion, it will cause the expansion and splashing of the concrete. Next, formation of the calcium sulfate, that is gypsum. It is react with the lime and form the hydration of the cement, that is NH, which is acting with the lime and the hydroxide. So it will give the NH and hydration of the cement, that is CSH2. So which again increases the volume of the cement or the concrete, and which will cause the cracks, expansion of the concrete and splashing of the concrete. So these are some things. Next is magnesium sulfate is more aggressive than the sodium or calcium salt. Here in this picture we can see some of the splashing of the concrete over the surface of the concrete surface. Here also we will find a part of the concrete is removed out, and we can see the reinforcement is exposed. So such types of splashing of the concrete or sulfate attack will be taken place. Here we will find part by part a concrete surface will be removed out. So this will be called as spalling of the concrete. Next is carbonation. Carbon dioxide in air or dissolved in the water reacts with the hydrated cement. Thus carbon dioxide is present in the environment, which will be present in air or it will be present in the water, which will react with the cement and it will be hydrated. The main concern is the reaction of the carbon dioxide with the lime, which is present in the cement. So it gives rise to calcium carbonate, that is CaOH plus CO2, which reacts with the CaCO3 and water. In severe cases, the CSH phase, which is strength, and also it will give the strength to the concrete and also attack. In all such reactions, OH ion, which is present, is consumed and thus lowering the pH value. If OH ion is consumed, it will be reducing the alkalinity of the concrete and it will become the acidic in nature. If pH is lowered, it is very a protective layer over the steel reinforcement is again lost and corrosion will be takes place easily. Okay. So here next is alkali aggregates. If we are using the alkaline aggregates, which are the chemical reactions between the aggregates containing the certain reactive constituents and alkalis. As we have studied this alkaline nature of the concrete, we will find some white patches over the surface of the concrete, right? So this will be due to the alkaline aggregate required, using that contains the sodium and potassium salts, and hydroxyl ion released by the hydration of the cement can give the deleterious effect over the concrete surface, that is white patch over the concrete surface. We can find some of the granite gneiss and chest, quartzite and sandstone containing some of the reactive rocks found in the India. Here in this photograph we can see the alkaline nature of the concrete. Here white patches which is present due to the alkaline materials which are used in the concrete. Here white patches over the rocks which are using in the concrete. Corrosion of the reinforcement. In this corrosion of the reinforcement, the basic mechanism of corrosion of the steel is an electrochemical phenomena involving an anode process and cathode process. So in this anode process we are having the Fe content, that is iron content, which is divided into two electrodes plus Fe2 ions, so metallic ion. And next is cathode process. In this oxygen it is there and water, and along with this two electrodes which is giving us the OH minus ion. So here in addition, the corrosion undergone by the steel is due to combination of the iron and the Fe plus ion and the OH minus ion. By combining these two ions, we will get the corrosion of the reinforcement, that is iron hydroxide. That again also we can call it as the rust. Here in this concrete surface, most of the concrete surface is due to the rusting. Here dot some of the in this photograph it will be available, and here what will happen, this shows the mechanism of the corrosion of the steel by the anode effect and the cathode effect. Here Fe++ ion it will be getting, and cathodic action in the concrete reinforcement, H2O which is present in water present in the concrete, and electro 2E and oxygen. So from this OH- ion it will be added. So adding this Fe+ and OH- ion, where we are getting the FeOH2, that will be we consider as the rust or the corrosion mechanism. So here when we are getting the corrosion, what will happen, a part of the byproducts which are present, which is having the volume, it will be more compared to the steel ring surface on which it is affecting. So due to this, what will happen, this excess amount of material which is generated due to the chemical reaction, which will be present here, which will make the cracks over the surface or the cracking or splashing of the concrete surface from the concrete material. So here we see the main reason for the corrosion, the presence of the chloride ion which is present in this concrete, and in the water for mixing. Water we are using for the mixing of the concrete, and also for the curing of the concrete, and it is present in the aggregate. So all this form we are having the chloride in the concrete, and in some cases poor quality of the concrete can be prepared. In that case, hypermeability of the concrete will be take place. That is what void will be present. So due to in this void, water will be penetrated, and no control over the water cement ratio when mixing of the concrete at the site. So these are some of the main reasons which will be taken case for the corrosion, and also the low pH value of the corrosion, mainly due to the carbonation. So next we will study the methods of controlling the sulfate attack. So if we use this use of the sulfate resistant cement, that is the cement with the low content of C3A, right? So here most effective, and so sulfate resistant cement which contains the less C3A, because C3A will make the tricalcium aluminate will be affecting for the sulfate attack. And quality of the concrete, it is well designed, well placed, well properly compacted concrete exhibit the higher rating, because here well designed concrete and well placed and compacted concrete, there we are having the less amount of voids, and less amount of water or chemical can penetrate inside the concrete, and we can avoid the corrosion of the steel, and we can avoid the sulfate attack. Use of the air entrainment. So what this air entraining agent will do, if we use the 6% as the benefits of the sulfatation by reduction of the segregation will be reduced, and improvement of the workability, properly viewing, and reduction of the bleeding. So these are the main effects for making the good quality concrete. So if we make the good quality concrete, again it will be helpful. We can reduce the sulfate attack. And next is use of the pozzolana, that is a pozzolanic material, that is fly ash, PGBS. If we are using this pozzolanic material, we can reduce the pores in the concrete or voids in the concrete. So by this we can reduce the sulfate attack of the concrete. Use of the high alumina cement. So high alumina cement improve the resistance of the concrete for the sulfate attack also. This is all about the chemical reactions which are taken place on the concrete. Okay sir, thank you.